this video, I'll be showing you how to properly scale and optimize your Meta ads, both Instagram and Facebook. I'll be going over the basic account structures that we use, targeting options, attribution issues, and the best ways to solve them, key performance indicators, and how to properly analyze them, and so much more. So please make sure to stick until the end. Also, this video could be a bit more complicated and information dense, so I highly suggest you guys take notes throughout the video. If you don't know me, my name is Sam Pritt. I've been a performance marketer my whole life. Currently, my team and I manage a bit over 2 million in monthly media spend, and I've had a pleasure of working with the coolest brands in North America, primarily focusing on paid social, paid search, and full funnel optimization. So let's start with the most important part. The information that you see on the Facebook dashboard is modeled. It's not properly reported. It's fugazi, it's fugazi, it's fairy dust.
It's fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust.
It doesn't exist. After iOS 14 updates, when the transmission of the information between Meta and all of the Apple users was severely damaged, it wasn't just the targeting options within Facebook that became weaker. One of the main issues was Apple's privacy legislations, where Facebook was no longer allowed to properly use third-party data from your website. So in the past, when your customer saw your ad, clicked on it, and went to your website, Facebook was able to see all of the main actions of that individual, not just on their own platform, but also on your website, and then it would report back to you perfectly. After iOS 14 updates, Facebook no longer is allowed to take the third-party data from the website and showcase it, quote-unquote, the way it is. So Facebook still has an ability to access this data, but the way it perceives it had to be changed. And that's where the modeled data is coming from. So instead of just taking the third-party data from your website, such as an individual making a purchase and how much they spent, or an individual adding to cart, and just sending it back to you and you viewing it in the Facebook dashboard, what it now does is it sends this data to a modeling algorithm. And now it's not based on the actual individual's purchases, it's more of the Facebook's predictions. Unfortunately, those predictions are not ideal. At the same time, when the iOS 14 just came out, one of the things that Facebook was extremely worried about is the underreporting issue. So in my point of view, they made a conscious decision to start over-reporting like crazy. It came to the point where you can no longer trust Facebook ads. So in front of us is one of the cleanest examples of over-attribution. Look what Facebook reports from the February till April of 2024. 38x ROAS, right? Looks amazing. I wish it was the case. The actual data, look, it's still pretty good result. It's a well-performing account, but the actual ROAS are 12.8. And the number of overall purchases is 118 and not 464. It's crazy. It literally tripled all of the results, which is just unacceptable. One of the main mechanisms that made that over-attribution possible is Facebook's move to the standard attribution settings of 7-day click plus 1-day view. This 1-day view is what messes up the overall picture. The first thing that we always do for all of the accounts that join us is we relaunch their campaigns and we change the attribution settings on the ad set level from 7-day click, 1-day view to 7-day click alone. What we do for all of the clients that spend at least $250 per day on Facebook ads is we recommend them to sign up for Triple Whale. It is a software that you connect to your Shopify and to all of your paid channels, Facebook, Google, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever. And it allows you to see the actual customer journey. From the time they click the link on the ad, Triple Whale will tell you at what time they've viewed the page, which page they viewed, when they've added to cart, when they left the website, when they came back through Google ads, or when they came back through the Facebook ad, or whatever other action has been taken, all up until the purchase, and then even after the purchase. Something cool that I want to show you is when you hover on the purchases and you click on them, you're actually able to see the whole customer journey of each one of the individuals that made the purchase on your website. It's pretty amazing. It gives you a lot of insight, and I highly suggest you use it. It also adds on a lot of trust to the data that is being reported. And now, using that first party clean data, you're able to optimize your ads properly, only keeping the ads that are actually giving you the needed performance. It is a comparatively complicated tool to use. Later on, I'll record a whole video fully explaining on lots of different attribution settings and options that you could use for different purposes. For the simple scaling of Facebook account, what I highly suggest you do is you use their standard TA or triple attribution setting. You use the attribution window of 28 days, and that's it. And please know that currently we're using TA, triple attribution. Now in here, we do not avoid over attribution as a whole, we just allow Facebook to get the credit it quote unquote deserves. So in here, each channel gets 100% credit. It's similar to ad platform attribution, if the ad platform attribution was to work properly. Let's look at another example. So let's take a look here. The overall ROAS that are being reported by this account are 4.13, which is great. We are on target. By the way, this metric is also super cool. It's new customer ROAS, something pretty important to note. When we go into Facebook, the ROAS that are being reported by this beautiful platform are a bit different. We're being reported as 8.68. If you spend at least $150 per day on Meta ads, you need to sign up for Triple Whale to see which channels actually deliver the results to you. And if it's the Meta channel that delivers results to you and you would like to scale it up as much as you possibly can, again, you need to use Triple Whale or any other attribution tools that would allow you to see the actual things that are happening on your account. So this is number one. Number two, what is the account structure that in my point of view is the most optimal for scaling? I select one main sales campaign, or how we used to call it, conversions campaign. You go in, you have 2 or 3 already tested ad sets, audiences that have already proven themselves to be working well. You only take those, and within each one of those audiences, there are 2 or 3 tested ads that have already proven themselves. You know for a fact that they work. I suggest you use ad set budget and not CBO or the campaign budget level. I know that Facebook representatives told you that the best way to go is use campaign budgets. Do not listen to Facebook representatives, and do not listen to gurus on YouTube that tell you that it's the way to go. It's fucking not. It's just not the case, unfortunately. I wish it was. We've tested it a lot of times. It's not. In terms of the performance, the budget setup doesn't make the overall difference. What budget setup does is it allows you to have more control over the overall spend and the fates of your campaign when you're able to control them on the ad set level, on the level of different types of audiences. So the next thing that I usually do is I increase the budget of each one of the audiences by 20% every 3 to 4 days. If within that time period, my cost per 1,000 accounts reached has stayed the same and my CPM has stayed the same, this is the best example for me to see that Facebook itself as the platform reacted positively to my scale. They did not see that I'm increasing the budget and then increased the prices for me. They kept them steady, so this is the first really good sign. The second thing that I look at is my actual Shopify sales. What is happening with them? Are they staying stable? Are they increasing, or are they decreasing? Now, it is important to gut check to make sure that you're not overspending during the scaling period, but it's also extremely important to remember the length of your customer journey. If on average it takes your customer 7 days from the time they figured out that you exist to the time when they purchase, and you've just increased the budget 3 days ago and the sales have not increased, it is obvious why. It is also important to remember that your average customer journey is exactly what it is average. There will be times where, for whatever reason, in a certain period, it will take your customers 10 or 11 or 14 days to actually make a purchase. Sometimes it will take them less, which is awesome. And of course, there will always be snap decision buyers that make the purchase right away, a day after seeing the ad, and we love them. They allow us to actually scale up. But we need to be cautious and careful before making major changes. That's why I told you that after the first scale up, you check the account in 2 or 3 days, and the main thing that you view is how much Facebook charges you, not your actual CPAs. not your actual number of purchases. The second thing that I suggest you check is your CTRs. Your CTRs and cost per link clicks. Have they stayed the same? If they have, it's awesome. It means that the quality of your audience did not change as you started to scale up, which again is a good sign. The third thing that you need to check are high priority social engagement KPIs, such as number of post saves and post shares. Those are the two main ones. If your average cost for the combination of post saves and post shares stayed the same, it means again another indicator that the quality of your audience stayed the same. Please note that there is no original metric within Facebook that shows you the cost per post shares and post saves. What I highly suggest you do is you create that custom metric yourself. It's super simple. Just YouTube how to create custom metrics on Meta, and it'll show you. It's 2 or 3 minutes. Or you could do your calculations manually, right? How much did you spend in the last 3 days divided by the number of post shares and post saves? Here's your number. And the fourth indicator of a successful scale is the actual cost per acquisition that you have that is coming not from Meta, but from Triple Whale. Now, if your cost per acquisition stayed the same or increased a little bit, in my point of view, you are in a good spot. If all of the metrics that I've just mentioned are showing a good enough for the result, I suggest you scale up the account by 20% for the next 3 more days. Now, the closer you move with your scale up to the length of your average customer journey, the more you should rely on the cost per acquisition and the overall ROAS. For example, if the average customer journey length that you have for your business is 10 days, by the time you reach a 7th day, the priority of the cost per acquisition is above the social indicators of post saves and shares, and it's definitely above the CTR or the cost per link click. But it is still similarly important as the cost per 1,000 account reached, because as soon as Facebook starts increasing your prices because you're scaling up, you need to stop the scale. You need to cool down the account until the cost per 1,000 accounts reached goes down to your regular level, or you might even need to scale down a little bit if after the increase of the account's budget by 20%, your cost per 1,000 account centers has increased. You pause, you wait for 3 to 4 days. If it stays high, you scale down the ad set, not the campaign. You scale down the ad set that had an increase in the cost per 1,000 accounts reached by 10%. So you're still up from the previous one. And again, you wait. As soon as a cost per 1,000 accounts centers reach stabilizes, you continue the scale. During the scaling process, please always remember about the delay in the purchasing behavior. For example, if you have been scaling up the account for the last 20 days and you see incredibly good performance and your average customer journey is 10 days, you need to understand that the thing that causes the positive result is not something you just did, but were the actions that you did 10 days ago, approximately. And it's the ads that were shown the most 10 days ago that made you the active sales today. Now, obviously, it is extremely important for you to determine what is the length of your average customer journey. Let's continue with the account structure. I have mentioned that what I like to do is to have 2 or 3 ad sets that have proven to work, and within each one of those ad sets to have 2 or 3 best performing ads. Now, if you only have one ad set that performs well, I will be cautious to scale. I suggest to at least scale when you have 2 similarly well performing ad sets. Now, something that I would like to address is the sudden urge to move most of your budgets to Advantage Plus, because that's the way Facebook works. Guys, I highly suggest you to not do that just yet. Is there a possibility that Advantage Plus will perform well for you? Yes, 100%. Just like broad campaign with zero targeting 3 years ago could perform well for you. It does not mean that this should be your whole targeting mix. I have a gazillion of case studies where interest-based targeting ad sets or lookalike-based targeting ad sets actually outperform Advantage Plus. Now, the interesting thing that, remember the overattribution that I've mentioned? The place where overattribution happens the most is actually the Advantage Plus campaign. The truth is that Facebook wants and needs the Advantage Plus campaign to perform. It is their main product. That is why the only thing that you hear from Facebook representatives or Facebook guidelines is go broader, do not make your audience smaller, go with the Advantage Plus. It's the best thing ever. It's not. It's fine. But interest-based ad sets also perform pretty good. And lookalike-based ad sets also perform pretty good. And the truth is that Meta or Facebook it's not a stable platform. It changes constantly, and this month your interest-based targeting maybe perform better. Next month it's lookalikes. The month after that is Advantage Plus. And it's also super dependent on the account-to-account basis. I do not know why, but there are accounts where I literally have 80% of my budget in Advantage Plus, and they perform well, and we keep them there, and they look stable. I have other accounts where I've tested Advantage Plus campaign 3, 4, 5 times, it never performed. And the only thing that we have in the marketing mix is interest-based targeting and lookalikes. And there are campaigns that I've described previously where I have everything in the mix, where 30% of the budget is being spent on Advantage Plus, the other 30 on the interest-based, the other 30 on lookalikes, and they all have similar performance. The truth is that if on your account the only thing that you have on is Advantage Plus, in my point of view, you are missing out and you're over-indexed on one campaign. If you wake up tomorrow and that campaign dies, which is possible, which has happened, and which will always be happening with Facebook ads, in my point of view, then you just put yourself and your account into the extra risk. Test out all of the campaigns. You're also allowed to have an audience that is less than 1 million people. That's the truth. Especially if you do not have a budget of $50,000 per day, if you spend it like $1,000 per day or $500 per day, and you have an audience of 500,000 people through the interest-based targeting, through the use of also must match option where you narrow down your audience specifically to increase the quality of that audience by layering in 3, 4, 5 different types of interest into them. It will still take you months until you run through that whole audience. And if your audience targeting selection was good enough, there's also a pretty big possibility that the results from those ad sets will outperform your results from broad targeting. Is there a possibility that Facebook will increase its prices there and your cost per 1,000 account reached will be 10% higher? Sure, it is a possibility, even though it doesn't always happen. But even if it does happen, but you did a good enough of a job properly defining your audience, due to the increase in the quality of the audience, your CTR will be increased greatly. In most of the cases, it will be more than just a 10% increase, which means that the end result, which is the cost per link click, will actually decrease. And that's what we are going after, right? In most of the times, we're not going after reaching as many people as possible. What we want to do is bring in as many high quality link clicks to the website. And if you're able to bring in more high quality link clicks to the website, but reach less people, you're okay to do it. If your budget allows it, I would always set up a separate campaign with 1 or 2 simple smaller ad sets that would be just used for testing of the new ads. This way, on one side of the account, you are scaling up your best performers. On the other side of the account, you are trying to find new winners. This way, you'll be balanced out, and every time one or the other ad just stops performing, which will happen sooner than later, you'll be able to replace it with another best performer from one of your testing ad sets. Now guys, since the data on Facebook is corrupt and you cannot trust it, and the truth is that triple whale data is not perfect either, because it only shows you the customer journey after they click the link, I have started a new set of metrics. Remember, in the beginning of the video, I have mentioned the difference between Facebook's first-party data and third-party data. And third-party data is not as accessible as it used to be in the Facebook's golden days. But what is first party to Facebook, to Instagram? All of the on-platform interactions, all of the likes, all of the comments, all of the post saves, all of the post shares, video views, all of that is 100% first party data. Facebook knows exactly who did it, when they did it, what are those individuals' interests, and so on and so forth. But as soon as that individual clicks the link on your ad and goes to your website, the possibility of Facebook losing the track of them increases drastically. If I'm not mistaken, 40-70% of all the traffic that leaves Meta platforms and goes to the outside websites are being lost and are no longer being able to be properly tracked by Facebook. It still kind of knows where they are, who they are, but not fully. That is why for my team, I have introduced a two-layer approach for optimizing Facebook ads. Now, the first part is comparatively simple. I view at the cost per acquisition, new customer cost per acquisition, and the overall ROAS that are being reported by Triple Whale, and I optimize my campaigns, my ad sets, my ads based on those three metrics alone. However, at the same time, I go to my ads manager and I start to analyze social metrics, starting with the most important ones, which is post saves and post shares. Those two I value a bit higher than my reports of add to carts. For me, they're almost as valuable as purchases. Because if an individual is saving your post and it's an ad, the possibility of this individual having an extremely high purchasing intent is there, and Facebook knows it. In my point of view, Facebook sees an individual as the buyer and they will look for more like them. Now, the post share. It is pretty common for us to share posts on social medias. What is not common is sharing the ad in social media. So when an individual shares an ad, it's indicates that your ad is good enough, that people don't cringe out from it, and they don't even shy away from giving the ad to someone else, because most of the people hate ads. But if your ad is being shared, you're doing something right. So this is a huge indicator of, hey, maybe this ad is performing. Yeah, maybe their CPA is not as good as we want it to be just yet, but it has the most amount of shares across all of my ads. Should I give it another 7 days to try and improve their cost per acquisition? Yes, 100%. Then you move on, and what I'd like to see is the cost per throughplay. Throughplay is defined by Facebook is anyone who watched the video for 15 seconds or more. And what I look for there is any throughplay that has 0.1/0.10 for my conversion campaign or sales campaign is a winner. If it takes me 1/10 cents for one individual to watch 15 seconds on my video or more, I'm in a pretty good spot. Now, it is a secondary metric of performance, but it still helps me to make a final decision regarding whether I should keep an ad, kill an ad, or keep it for just another 5 days, give it last chance, and then maybe turn it off. And the last but not least social metric that I watch for is the average video playtime. What I see on most of the mediocre ads is 5/6 seconds. If I see an ad that has an average video playtime of 10 seconds or a bit more, I pay an additional attention to it. It does not necessarily mean that it's a winner, but there is something within this ad that is out of the ordinary. It means that it's more engaging. It definitely means that it has a good hook and a good hook connector, and so on and so forth. It means that that ad variation or that angle of the messaging has something in it. It has a higher potential. So for example, let's say I go into one of my best performing ad sets, and this ad set I'm in the stage of active ads testing. So let's say it has 4 or 5 ads within that ad set, right? And I try to understand which ad should be kept and should be killed. And let's say ad number 1 and ad number 2 are showing the highest ROAS and the best cost per acquisition. And I've been running all of those ads for the past 10 days, which is a comparatively limited amount of data. And ads number 3 to 5 are showing low purchases and not on target cost per acquisition. Before turning off ads 3 to 5 right away, what I like to do is before making my final decision, I go in and I look at not just cost per acquisition, I also look at the new customer cost per acquisition, which gives me a better understanding of what are the ads that attract more of the net new customers, which is, in my point of view, the primary goal of paid social platforms. But then I go into the ads manager itself and I view social engagement metrics. Out of those, let's say 3 underperforming ads, if ad number 3 shows an unusually high amount of post saves, the possibility for me to keep this ad running for a little bit longer is increased dramatically. Now, for the ad types you should use for your scale and overall for paid social ads, I have a separate video on that. The only thing that I would like to tell to you right now is in the 2024, for you to be able to actively scale on Meta, you cannot have regular weak ads. Your ads need to be educational or entertainment based. People need to truly enjoy watching them. They need to be able to share them without being cringed out. And all of your ads must have active hooks that call out your customer audience, which eventually helps Facebook identify who your ideal customer is. The ideal hook for paid social ads, it's not just the hook that speaks directly to your target audience, it's the hook that is only appealing to your target audience. So in the ideal world, when a mass of people see your ad, only your ideal customer keeps watching, all the other ones automatically scroll through. If you have that, the possibility of Facebook fully understanding who your ideal customer is increases, and thus your ability to scale increases dramatically alongside with it. Please remember that there is no one solution fits all. The truth is that I have multiple accounts that I was able to scale rapidly, and I still have a couple of accounts where we are struggling to scale up. And more importantly, your technical setup is not the solution. There are no tricks. It is a complicated process where each part is extremely valuable and deserves your attention. In this video, we went through a general technical setup as well as some of the attribution solutions. But this alone will not allow you to scale up successfully. You will also need to have incredibly good ads. You will need to have a powerful offer. You need to have a landing page or a website that converts well, and so on and so forth. For the ads creation, as I mentioned before, I have a video that you could watch. For the offers, I have nothing to say to you at this moment. Just go read Alex Hormozi's $100 million offer. You will have all the information that you need, regardless whether you have a physical product or a service. You will still be able to take away quite a few of the valuable lessons from that book. Alright guys, you know the deal. If you found the value in this video, follow, like, subscribe, the whole thing. And please, if you have any extra ideas regarding the other topics that you'd like me to discuss, or you have any extra questions, leave the comments and we're gonna talk there. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.